jurisdiction. However, staff did research and note that a development permit application, commonly referred to as a DPA, which is required for development activities within this county, including installation of stormwater facilities, was not pulled in this case. So this issue has been forwarded to code enforcement, and I believe at this point in time we have notified the property owner for these lots 34 and 35 within the Ace Gate subdivision that they are not in compliance with the code, and we will be moving forward with those enforcement actions. We'd be happy to answer any questions. We do have staff from the various divisions here this evening. If the board or any citizens have any questions about this issue.
Are there any citizens on this issue?
Move to accept the update regarding the Eastgate subdivision and direct public works staff to research the feasibility of connecting homes in the Eastgate subdivision to central sewer.
Second.
Further board discussion? Hearing none, call for the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously.
Number 17, Mr. Chairman, is we're requesting board approval of a resolution clarifying the terms of appointment of members of the Dangerous Animals Appeal Board and approving the bylaws and procedures. Back, I believe it was July of '09, this board originally established the Dangerous Animals Appeals Board and appointed members. When you all did that, you did not specify the terms for the membership. So the attached resolution provides clarification of these terms of the members and the alternates. Additionally, this resolution would approve the bylaws and the quasi-judicial procedures for operations of the appeals board. The bylaws set forth the purpose of the appeal board, the makeup, the membership of the board, and the general procedures for meetings before the appeal board. And we recommend approval of the resolution.
I move to approve the resolution clarifying the terms of appointments of the members of the Dangerous Animals Appeal Board and approve the bylaws and procedures. However, I would also like staff to bring back at a later date an amended version with more specificity as to the membership and the appointment process. I think I would be looking for things such as specifying that there be a vet, for example, or there be a representative from CHAP or such as we have in some other groups. Also that there would be an opportunity for interested citizens, and the whole process about how these people get nominated and appointed by the board is a little bit unclear to me.
Okay, so that's your motion with the addendum to it.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Brock. Are there any citizens to speak on this issue? There are none. And is there any further board discussion? If there is none, call for the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Okay.
Okay, excuse me, I had to go to the ladies' room for you and the rest of the county. Item 30, request board approval of payment for additional TDC director hours for grant-funded projects. This item is related to a BP grant in the oil spill. I know Ms. Portwood is here this evening to answer any questions you all may have. The request is to spend a portion of that grant funding to support additional hours for the TDC director to provide grant administration and service under this item.
Move to approve payment for additional TDC director hours for implementation of the Deep Horizon Oil Spill Legal Plan.
Second. Motion by Commissioner Brock and second by Commissioner Stewart. Taylor. I think he's still here, okay.
Thank you all, Commissioners. Hugh Taylor, 1357 Mount Luther King Road. Let me first make clear, I'm not here speaking against Ms. Portwood, as I will be accused of. I'd love to see her back for the county, working as she was before. I thought she did a great job. Her voice was the only, not her voice, her name was one of the few names that always popped up when I first moved here, for her competency and all that. My concern is with the exact definition of all these quote employees for all these quote little boards and commissions and this and that we have. And with my great glowing recommendation being said, Ms. Portwood chose to leave the employ of the county. Maybe it didn't work out. Maybe something happened. I don't know. But to my mind, and I don't know of too many, but to my mind, the demarcation, is she a county employee or not? I don't think any of you guys could tell me. Here's an agenda request from June of 2008. On April 21st, 2008, Board accepted the recommendation of the Wakulla County Tourist Development Council to employ the services of Pam Portwood. Who's employing Pam Portwood? TDC gets their money through bed tax, not through general county revenues. You know, if there's no money, there's no money. If there's a little bit of money, there's a little bit of money. You have to make do. But there's not enough money coming in from bed taxes, so we have to have more money for this, more money for that. And the idea also on this grant, so we whipped together some videos. I don't know how many 30-second videos, and Pam can correct me on the price, but I think it's in the 30s out of a $50,000 grant. Wouldn't it be better to have one 30-second video, and rather than a viral campaign, an aggressive viral campaign, have an actual media buy? I mean, and this is all going to get twisted, and I'm against this, and I'm against that. It's not true. I wish you'd go back to work and generate money for this county. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Pam Portwood.
Thank you. I take such exception to the fact that you would think that I am not working for this county right now. And now I'm just going to calm down. I was originally hired in this county in 1997, I believe it was, and I took a cut in pay to come here because I wanted to work for my county. I had been living here for about 6 or 7 years. I wanted to be close to my son and his school. I wanted to work in this county, so I sacrificed some salary so that I could do that. I haven't regretted it one moment. The things that I have gained from working in this county personally and professionally have been beyond anything any of you could have paid me or the state could have paid me or anything else. I don't regret it one bit. I do not regret that I left county employee to take advantage of some opportunities that were offered to me. And while they didn't pan out exactly the way that I thought they would, they led to the best job I have ever had in my entire life. I am very blessed, Hugh. I am very blessed to have this job, and don't you think that I'm not grateful for it every day. I'm under part-time contract with the county to do a long laundry list of things. And one of those things is bringing money into this county. for tourist-related things because I'm the Tourist Development Council Director. And so what you have is a $50,000 grant that I responded to in a 24-hour notice, doing the best that I can with the best knowledge that I have about the best bang for our marketing buck. I don't have the percentages right here in front of me, but I can certainly provide you the research and the demonstration of what happens with a viral marketing campaign these days. Visit Florida Live, their Facebook viral campaign has generated, in all of the feeder markets, have generated 185% more response and website hits to their website just because of their viral campaign, not because of the commercials, but because of the viral campaign. So I'm moving us in a direction that I believe, and my council agrees, is the best way for us to go in a 90-day time frame. That's what we had. We had 90 days from the time they told us we could have the money till it has to be spent. So I still very much consider myself, no, I'm not technically a county employee because I guess I don't go through the regular stuff. I don't have the benefits. I don't have to leave. I don't have those things. But I consider myself a public servant. I consider myself a person who works for this county. And as long as I'm able to, I hope I get to continue. I'm grateful. If you have some questions about this particular, I got a little off track and a little excited, and I apologize. But what we're asking for here is not, and it sounds a little bit like there might be the miscommunication that we're asking for TDC or bed tax or general revenue money or something else to pay for the extra hours it takes to implement this plan. We're not. It's included in the budget that was submitted for this media plan. To date, I have spent about 45 hours on just, the stuff dealing with this media plan. I'm keeping track of those hours separately, and they are not included in the hours that I'm paid under the normal TDC bed tax revenue. I would anticipate that between now and the time this plan is implemented, I may need to spend somewhere in the neighborhood of 60 to 80 more hours total to implement the plan. I don't know exactly. Quite frankly, I'm having a meeting with my website people. I'm hoping Commissioner Brock might be able to help us since he's very in tune with the social networking and work out the details of the rest of the plan. But it's just like the media and the oil spill has talked about building the car as it goes down the rail. I mean, we're doing this, and we're learning how to do it all as it's happening. And so that's where we stand with this grant money. It is also a goal of the Tourist Development Council. It's been stated in our annual work plan every year since we began reporting to you to increase the TDC director's hours as funds become available to do that. Bed tax funds are not there to do that quite yet, but grant funds are here through this BP grant. I've applied for and we have been awarded, and we will soon, I'll have a grant award to you within the next couple of meetings, I'm quite certain, to approve another $50,000 for TDC marketing. That grant includes budget to pay the TDC director extra hours to implement that plan because it will take more than the hours you're paying me to do now. So these are all things that we do rather than raise bed tax, which seems to be the big, everybody doesn't want to raise taxes, and so we're not asking to do that. We're not asking for extra. We're living within our means, and then we're seeking out the resources that become available to us, and I don't know what better thing we can do than that.
Any questions? Yes.
Well, first, congratulations and thank you on getting the $50,000. on 24 hours turnaround. And then this is news to me that you're getting a second, you think you're going to get a second 50,000?
Well, it's not. You approved the application way back when we when we applied for it, but we applied for a coastal management grant for $50,000. We have been notified that it's awarded. They're actually working on the grant award now, and I would expect that based on the agenda deadlines, it'll probably be the second meeting in August before it gets to you. I haven't actually gotten the document yet, but I do know the money's coming.
Okay. And I've seen Robert Seidler out video taping. Of that $50,000 grant, remind me roughly how much is going to him for his services, how much is going to you for your services?
$38,000 is for the videography, $12,000 is for the distribution, and that's not $12,000 for me. That's partly for me, depending on how many hours I spend, and then money for our website enhancements to integrate all these, setting up all the various social networking sites and integrating them into our website, updating it so that it, accepts the videos and the things that we need. So that was, frankly, a number I just sort of pulled together very quickly. I didn't have any details. I just said, let's make sure that we have enough to do what we want to do.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And I'm sorry, the reason that this is an add-on item is because of the nature of this money. The money has to be spent by August the 18th according to our memorandum of understanding, and so I need to know how to invoice for the services, if at all.
Okay. Thank you, Pam.
I move to approve.
It's already moved and seconded. We're on to citizens
to
speak right now. Gail Hickman.
My name is Gail Hickman. I live at 528 Hickorywood Drive. I'm concerned about our budget. I went to the budget meeting at the community center and I was just dumbfounded to see that last year we were almost 1.5 million over. So I'm very concerned about the budget. Pam Portwood is not an employee. She is a contract person. I look at each one of you as 5 CEOs of the company, which is the community. I expect that you to make a decision as a CEO would make this decision. We're in the midst of considering furloughs because we have no budget money. My concern is more with the people that will suffer from the furloughs, such as the library. The library is not open but a half a day on Saturday and not on Sunday. And our children and families need the library. I'm not concerned with someone who is not an employee of our county. I'm more concerned with what's going to happen to the other people that are cutting back. The library has cut its air conditioning to the point that it's very hot in there. People are fanning themselves and complaining about the heat. I expect you to make a business decision. This person is not an employee. Thank you.
Thank you. Dana Peck.
And it's sort of like someone opened the kennel and the dogs are out, but let's think about this. It seems ambiguous what the money goes to exactly. When I heard $12,000 to go viral, I don't think it cost $12,000 to go viral, and I have every reason to believe that that could be justified and broken down. But wouldn't it be beneficial if you all reviewed, the allotted expenditures, that you reviewed this, because this is for the people who suffered from the effects of British petroleum, as if that's not all of us. And just to get something a bit more specific before you go say, oh yay, and go spend again, just get it broken down, written down, look at it, and then approve it or don't approve it. 12,000 to go viral, I think that means you launch it on the internet. You know, like bazoo, you beam it up, Scotty, and I don't know how that costs $12,000. So.
Thank you. Commissioner Brown?
I have comments if we're ready for our comments.
Yes.
I want to commend Pam for getting this $50,000 in less than 24 hours. Congratulations. This will look like we have $50,000 more in our budget for this year than we had, how it bounces out. And if we get another $50,000 coming up from next year's budget, it'll show another $50,000 increase. That isn't taxpayers' local general revenue. Pam Portwood is a contract employee with the county, so she is technically an employee with the county, but by contract. Going viral costs a lot of money. Every time, are you on Facebook, Dana? We're not friends on Facebook. So if you click on the right, one of those little things on the side of the advertisement, that company pays 75 cents. So you've now seen their page, but they paid 75 cents, and it's a great investment because they know for 75 cents you've seen their page. I have a habit of when I see politicians I don't like, I always click their page to make them pay that extra 75 cents to get a penny every time I can. Get them how I can. And that's one of the costs of going. That's one of the costs of going viral. And then you have the cost of helping the ministries grant things. This is money that Pam brought into the community. Then there's cost of getting it directed and associated. And I'm happy to take every penny we can from British Petroleum and to try and recoup funds for Wakulla County. And I'm hoping that this is just the first of many dollars that Pam will bring in from BP to help keep tourists coming to Wakulla, to help promote our Green Guides program, and help get more people out of hotels. And on that note, again, I know probably other people on the board don't disagree, but I'm still willing to consider raising the bed tax, a tax on people who are visiting from outside of Wakulla County. So, thank you.
Thank you.
You know, I think it's important to look at the way that the grant money is used. But I'm actually, what I would be interested in seeing is what's the impact of these commercials after they're made, because the whole purpose of them is to attract tourists who then, you know, eat in our restaurants and stay in our hotels and buy souvenirs and go fishing and whatever, so that our whole local economy improves. So, yeah, we can look at how that $12,000 is divided up, but actually I'd rather see, to the extent that you can project, what the economic benefit is after this is done, how effective it was as a boost to our tourism. And I don't know if you can do that or not, but that's what I'd like to see.
There's some things, yes, that will be able to measure.
Who had missed one citizen? Al Shikowski.
Thank you. Maybe my card got lost. I did put one in. Anyway, Al Shikowski, 85 Walden Road. I was here, I guess it was maybe 4 or 5 years ago, when you left the county as employee, and everybody wished you well, and it was bon voyage, and, you know, hope we see you around, but you're not working with the county anymore. And now it looks like you're going to give somebody a raise that doesn't work for the county, and I'm not sure how all this works. I think you're getting health insurance now through the county, and I just don't understand the agenda item. But I know we're in a tight fiscal, and we're having a tight budget year. Everybody else is foregoing their raises. Nobody else is getting any extra money. And we're looking to spend extra money on this program, and I just don't see where.
Can I have the floor, please?
Yes.
Thank you. My 3 minutes aren't up, but
I'm
go ahead.
sorry. I thought you were done.
Go ahead.
That's okay. You finished.
I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you.
First of all, Pam Portwood is an employee of the county. She is a contract employee, just like Mr. Pingree is. And again, this is the same kind of a tax that we keep getting from the public, whoever they are. It always seems to be the same folks attacking people out here with half-truths that can't be proven. I went and did my research. I saw Mr. Taylor's email earlier today. He came and visited me today. I went behind him and did my research. Sure enough, there's the facts. She's been a wonderful employee. I trust her as long as the day is. There's not any person I would trust more and value her employment for us than her. So here we are again in the same position we were just earlier.
Thank you. Commissioner Brown?
You said you,
Well, no, good.
I was just going to point out this is not a raise. Pam Floyd was a part-time employee for Wakulla County. If we can get her for more of her time and get her closer to full-time, I would love to see Pam Floyd would be a full-time employee, which can only be accomplished if we raise the bed tax, which is one of the reasons I think we should raise the bed tax. But if we can get her a few more hours, I think we're getting 40 hours out of you, maybe up to 60. So you said you did 100 extra hours that we would have gotten out of her that BP will be paying for. That if we don't spend this money on that, we won't spend. If this money's not spent by August 16th, we give it back to British Petroleum. And I want to be as clear as possible that I don't think that's a good idea. I think it is in the best economic interest for our community that we spend every dime we can telling people about why Wakulla County is where they need to be, so that people in other communities come here and spend their money in Wakulla County, and we can help make money for our citizens, increasing our sales tax, increasing our bed tax, increasing the money for our private people. And Pam Fort was doing a great job, and I really do hope to get to hire you full-time again sometime in the near future.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Brown. I guess all of this discussion has raised some questions for me, so Pam, if you would come up to the mic. I just preface whatever questions I have to you, because I'm confused at this point. I hate this mic. I ask of you, I just want to acknowledge that when you headed up our grants department, it was, as our auditor pointed out, a grants department that had considerable flow coming into it. Oh, you can't hear it again?
You have to hold it closer to the mouth and hear you.
Okay. I was making a statement in saying that when Pam Ford worked in our grants department, it was a grants department that brought in phenomenal amounts of grants. And her and the employee staff that she had under her really had contributed a considerable amount of revenue to the county, which our county runs on a lot of grants. So I appreciate that. But what I'm confused with this item is, let's take it out. First of all, this contract with BP, you said 32,000 or 38,000 and 12,000. Was the 38,000 already spent, or is that something you're projecting to save it?
The 38,000 is what you approved in the agenda item that we will pay Seidler Productions to produce the 8 30-second video spots that will then be used for viral marketing as well as television advertising and other things. But
and then what does viral marketing mean?
Well, it's social networking. It's Facebook and Twitter and YouTube, and it's where you put out a message, and then 2 people get your message, and it goes to 5 of their friends, and it goes to 20 of their friends, and so it becomes viral, so to speak. That's kind of my limited understanding of how that works, but it's just that it gets the word out, kind of exponentially. Every time a new person gets it, there's 10 more behind them, or 50 more behind them, or 1,000 more behind them that gets it also.
Okay, so when we start this, when we push the button as we go to network and goes out to X number of email lists and stuff like that, after we do that, what more do we do to make this a viral campaign?
Well, there are things that you do to keep people interested and to keep them coming to your site and to keep them looking at your videos and doing things. It could be contests that you put out there. It could be, there's lots of creative ways to use all this to market, and that's where the time comes in. It's sweat equity. There is a cost, obviously, to get our website updated the way I need it to be and for it to be integrated, but there's just time that it takes to tweet and blog and send out these things, and that's what we're talking about.
Then what is the deadline that you're looking at that we have to have some kind of, why this was, first of all, I don't think this was a really good item for the consent agenda. I don't know how other board members feel about it. This is not like customary and usual thing. But that being the case, what is the deadline that we're looking at? What's happening in X amount of days that we have to make a decision?
The memorandum of understanding that you've executed, you've got two of them actually, said that the monies have to be spent, the $50,000 has to be spent by August the 18th. That money is in our bank already. They have sent both of the checks. This isn't a normal grant where we pay out and then get reimbursed. We've got the money sitting in the bank. I'm doing weekly reports to, and by the way, it's BP money, but our contract is not with BP. It went through the governor's office, which went through Division of Emergency Management. So, technically speaking, our memorandum of understanding is with the Florida Division of Emergency Management, but it's BP money. The plan, the videos, and the Facebook and all the viral marketing stuff has to be set up, and things have to be out and out there going by August the 18th, and those checks have to be cut. The money has to be spent.
Okay, so let's take this out of the BP grant for a moment, and let's pretend it's somebody else's grant
Okay.
that you applied for, and you're going to be working because you do grants. You have grants come in all the time.
Right.
And so you're working for how many hours for the county do you work? I mean, like your contract, what does it say, how many hours?
It doesn't have a specific number of hours.
Okay.
It's a part-time contract.
So that becomes troublesome with a motion to increase hours when we don't have a baseline. Okay? So I think there's something that has to go back to our contract with you and spell something out a little more specifically, if it's 20 hours a week or whatever it is. Because if you were doing a grant for somebody else, and according to your contract right now, if you worked 10 hours a week or 80 hours a week, you would be getting the same amount of money, correct? If BP didn't exist, and you were working as a contract employee under your contract right now,
Right.
and you were working 10 hours a week for us, or 40 hours a week for us, we don't know, because you're out there doing your thing.
Right.
Your payment would still be the same.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And-
The way the contract states is my payment is divided into 12 equal installments. Yes.
Right. And so I'm seeing a problem with the contract that exists, because it's not fair to you, and it's very confusing to the county. Because how can we increase your hours when there's no hours to increase because we don't have a baseline? And then the other question is, if you were dealing with a grant other than BP, that was a $50,000 grant, and you spent, I don't know, you spent all of it on doing whatever you do, I mean, to promote tourism in the county, then if you spend all of that money, why aren't we spending all of this grant money? Why aren't we just spending it on promoting tourism?
I don't know what you mean by that. I'm not
So
clear
if
on
there's
your question.
$12,000 in this pot that we have to spend by a certain date, because the videos are taken care of,
Right.
so why don't we put all that into just promoting the county?
It is. It absolutely is.
Then I'm
It
confused.
takes my time to do the things that promote Wakulla County tourism.
Right. Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, well, we're both maybe speaking on two different planes.
And, as far as my contract is concerned, my contract came and it was written not by me, and it was reviewed comprehensively a couple of times, and changes were made so that we could be sure that there was accountability. And now all of a sudden there's a problem with my contract. I don't have an issue. If you want to name out a certain number of hours, that's perfectly fine with me. I just want to be able to do my job.
Yeah, and I guess I'm not understanding it, and it's my fault. I just don't have it clear how we can increase hours that we don't have a baseline with, how we deal with other grants. It's not accusatory, just how we deal with other grants. You wouldn't be coming to the board, I don't think, saying, increase my hours.
If I was full,
Okay, one second.
if I was already working full-time for you, I wouldn't be able to do that.
But under this contract that you have right now, have you ever before come to the board and said, I need to get paid more hours under this contract?
No, because there's no budget to do that. I wouldn't, no,
Well, out of
because
the grant
TDC
money-
does not have a budget to do that.
Okay, out of the grants that we get, there's no portion that's administrative that says, okay.
Yeah, we haven't gotten any yet. This is the first.
Oh,
This is the
no,
first.
Commissioner Bach,
This is the
please.
first thing TDC's going for. The first.
Okay, so this is new
At
ground we're
TDC,
working
correct.
on, and that's what.
Well, it's
okay, that's
new
what
ground, I
confused
guess,
me.
for TDC.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
okay. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Commissioner Brock first.
Commissioner Armstrong had her hand up. So I was just going to say, she did say the next grant she's getting is going to be similar with administrative dollars in it.
And let me explain something. It is beyond administration. It's not just grant administration. It's actual implementation of the grant, of the project itself. I'm not just charging the hours to do paperwork for a grant. I'm charging the hours to actually implement the project. The grant that's coming for $50,000 later is for marketing, and there's all kinds of, there's lots of things that I'll be doing should it be approved. That will be direct project implementation of that grant. It's not just about grant administration and pulling money out just to do paperwork. That's not what it is. It's project implementation.
Okay, Commissioner Ross.
Yeah, I don't know if this would be helpful, but instead of thinking of it in terms of adding more hours to some unspecified amount of hours, the way I see it is as tourist development director, she has certain work activities that she is spending her time on, and she has to, whether she's developing the website or whatever, that's all spelled out in what she's supposed to work on. This grant is a new work activity, and so, it's not, these commercials just aren't going to happen out of the blue unless there are people that are making this, unless people are doing the work to carry out this grant plan. And so that's how I'm viewing it, is this is new work that is being done, and she is being paid for that additional work through these additional funds. So
And just so can I just say one more time in case anybody gets, the $12,000 is not to pay Pam Portwood. I'm not asking for you to pay me $12,000.
So what is?
Just, I think I told you before, I'm estimating somewhere in the neighborhood of another 60 to 80 hours. I've spent 45 so far. You're talking about somewhere around $3,600. It's $35 an hour is my hourly rate. That's what I charge. So that's what you're paying me for, is an estimated, which I can document my hours. I do already document the hours I spend on the different things that I do, because otherwise I would lose my mind. I would not be able to keep track of what is going on. So I do. I can tell you what time I took a shower and other things on most days, because I have to keep that
Thank you.
close.
Let's just try to resolve this, okay?
I want to say that I was okay with this being a consent agenda item because it was just a functionary measure for the grant. It was, we have the money, it's not coming out of the general fund, we're just approving to pay Pam a little bit of it. I was okay with that because I didn't see this conversation. I knew I was voting on this from the beginning. It's not affecting us. Also with new media, she's going to have to be helping build content for blogs. She's going to be having, there's a lot of things that she's going to be doing that is legitimate work that's in addition to what we have her. I assume that on an average week you're spending 20 to 30 hours a week working for the TDC. Probably more.
I'm not being paid for that many.
Right. Well, you're getting paid for 20s, but I assume when someone says part-time, that's what it means.
Almost.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think that's a problem that caused me confusion here, is that if you would have, whoever made this up, spelled out, here's the amount of money that I'm asking you to approve, I don't know what I'm approving here. See, don't know what I'm approving, and that's troublesome. I mean, I think as a grants person, as a TDC person, you're out there, you're doing great things, but to come before the board and have it this vague is a problem to me. And if there's a deadline and we have to do this at this meeting, then I'm going to vote for it, but I would hope that any future item that comes before us has some more specificity to it. Okay? That's all, because that's where I am. Okay?
Okay, well, I guess, yeah, okay.
Yeah, because you're asking me, like, and then what happens is we say we vote for something, and then you say, well, you voted for this, you didn't question it, you didn't do that, you said it was okay, and I want to know what I'm voting for.
I don't have a problem with that in the world.
Okay.
If I haven't answered any of your questions, let's talk some more.
Okay. All right, so no further discussion from the board. Everyone understands what we're voting for? Okay. I still don't totally, but I got a better handle on it now. All those in favor, signify.
I'm asking for $3,600 to $4,300. That's 60 to 80 hours plus the 45 I've already worked.
This is coming out of the DD grant.
Yes.
Right, not coming out of bed tax.
Not coming out of bed tax, not coming out of general revenue.
That's good. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Passes unanimously. We are going to go right into citizens to be heard, since this...
We have a break.
Commissioners want a break. Let's take a 5-minute break.
All right.
Get ahead of line.
And just to confirm that Mr. Quigg has arranged for with me prior to the meeting, and he'll be... Sorry about that. Mr. Quigg has arranged prior to the meeting and has 5 minutes to be set on the timer. Okay. Please, Mr. Quigg.
Thank you, honorable members of the board, for allowing us to address you this evening. I'm Douglas W. Quigg. I'm stepfather of John Nelson Taylor, who was unjustly dismissed from employment recently, as I shall briefly explain. My wife, Sherry, is John's mother. To begin with, if there's any of you that have not personally met John, I'd like to introduce him at this time. John, would you stand up, please? And his wife, Patty, and 3 of their 4 children are here tonight also. Ladies and gentlemen of the board, these are the people that I and many others are here for tonight, to ask you to correct a despicable wrong done to John by your employed administrators. John had been employed by the county as a supervisor in the facilities management department for almost 3 years, receiving excellent evaluations and by all accounts a valuable and likable employee. Recently, he was assigned duties in the weatherization department to expedite the contracting process so the county would not lose the state funding for this program. One contractor, already having been awarded some of the weatherization contracts, became disgruntled at not having been awarded more, and accused John and others involved in the process of unfair bidding practices. That contractor reacted by taking a slash and burn approach to try to injure John and anyone else that they deemed responsible for the contractor not receiving more contracts. The contractor demanded personnel files on John and others and instigated a criminal investigation report by the FDLE on John going back 25 years. He was about like that. In consideration of criminal background investigations and employment applications, the county's own employment policies, rightfully so, make use of the powerful and precious principle of redemption to bring on board capable and suitable people to join the county team to serve the public. John is one of those people. Your administration, in efforts to appease the disgruntled contractor and to return the county office climate to normal again, decided to remove John from the picture because of his old legal infractions. Under duress and much distress, John signed a resignation letter already prepared by the administrator and personnel coordinator. I, John's mother, and many others then advised John to withdraw that resignation quickly so the matter could be sorted out and, if necessary, get legal action. The administrators would not allow John to withdraw the resignation. Honorable Board, John was denied due process to begin with, and he was unjustly dismissed at the whim of your administrators and has been used as a scapegoat to solve a departmental problem that could have been quickly and amicably resolved. We're here tonight to ask you to do the right thing and reinstate John to the position he was performing so well at. Come down on the right side of history and let this young man get back to work serving the citizens of Wakulla County. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, sir. Billy Claggett.
Thank you, Matt.
Pam Portwood.
Come up tonight or going to come up either, so I just want to preface what I'm about to say with that. But I am disappointed that Ben is not here, because if he were, and maybe he's lucky to be watching, and I could say thank you to him personally. I think he's done a great job as a county administrator, and what I do know is that, and what I've learned a lot lately from this BP stuff, is how much perception, influences reality, and how far from reality it often is. And there's been a lot of, presentations and letters to the editor and things about Ben, and I'm not really here to talk about Ben or defend him, because as the county administrator, some of this stuff just comes with the territory. It's just part of what you sign on for when you get a contract like that. But what I know is that he has excellent staff that he brought on and recommended, but you were smart enough to follow his recommendation and hire. And I have tried over the last few months, as I hear things out in the county, to voice my opinion about staff, to counter some of the negativity that I hear about staff. And then I try to tell them, I try to come in their office and tell them what a great job they're doing. Unfortunately, it's not much from me, because they don't report to me. But I just want to say it publicly. We have the most outstanding staff at this county right now, and the level of stress and negativity that they're working under right now is unbelievable and undeserved. I would hate to know how much it's costing our taxpayers to respond for our staff to have to daily defend themselves, daily. It's one thing for a county administrator or an elected official, because again, you sign up for it. That's part of what you sign up to do. But it is just not right that it comes down to the staff, and I just want to say publicly that I think you guys are doing a great job. I hope that you will remember who you work for, and it's not all of these people. And thank you for doing a great job.
Thank you. Mark Mitchell.
How y'all tonight?
Good.
I'd like to have the opportunity to talk to you a little bit about my support for John Taylor. I've known John for about 10 years now, and I found him to be most reliable and proficient on a personal and professional basis. On a professional basis, I was fortunate enough to benefit from some of John's services on numerous occasions. As the owner of an ice house, I had lots of times when I needed constant repair and maintenance issues, and I could call on John. I always knew that I could depend on John to be there and that his word was good. He was a very, very capable carpenter. In my dealings with him, I found him to be professional and very dependable. Personally, I've known him, like I say, for about 10 years, and he is an ardent supporter of our county. He has been coach in the youth league, football league for about 9 years. He was on the Panacea Volunteer Fire Department for 7 years, and he is a lifelong resident of Wakulla County, and his pride in our community is always there. We need to continue to have John's services in our county. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Ray Hutton.
Appreciate y'all letting me speak, Commissioners. I'm speaking on behalf of John Taylor too. He didn't invite me here. I heard about this, but I don't really know much about what's going on with him. But he usually never brought the things about his job home with him. That's one thing I liked about him. But he was always listening to me complain, but he never complained. I guess I want to read. Before John got his job with the county, he was doing a little mullet fishing to get by, but his heart was always in finding a steady job to support his family. He was unloading some fish one day at my place one evening, and I was able to share with him my testimony of how God changed my life. John soon after started going to church with me at Mount Beezer in Salt Chopping. He helped me start a youth group at our church that grew to over 40 kids. That was exciting to our church, being there was just a little over 30 members at that time, some that weren't even active. Folks, I was never an outgoing person, but John would go all over Panacea picking up kids. John had a way of getting people to listen. We got the youth involved in parades, walking and handing out tracts. John always asked the church to pray for him to get a good job. Finally, after trying a couple jobs that just wasn't for him, God gave John a job he loved. He put his whole heart into working for our county. There were several times we would talk on the phone and he would be still working late hours. It got to where he had less and less time for our youth group. Even though John withdrew from helping with the youth group, he would always take the time to talk to me when I needed advice on our youth group. Our youth group hasn't been real active lately. We have all made excuses why we haven't been having meetings. But folks, it takes good people willing to push, to be committed. John was committed to this county, just like when John was leading our youth group, he was committed to it. He stepped down from being one of the leaders of our youth to fully commit himself to his job. The youth at Mount Beezer miss John, and I'm sure if whatever y'all are doing to him goes through, our county will miss him, and so will all.
Thank you. Darrell Taylor.
Commissioners. I'm Darrell Taylor, John's brother. Now, I used to work with the county too, with Leon County, and I know you have procedures you had to go through before you fired a person. You had to, there was 3 strikes you out. There was none of that. And if it's a wrongdoing, y'all need to make right what's right. And he's approved, he showed himself tremendous at his job as how good he's done for this county. And y'all don't need to kick him when he's down like that. That's wrong. Thank you.
Thank you. Jenny Brock.
Commissioners, thank you again for allowing me to speak. My name is Jenny Brock. I live at 311 Old Magnolia Road, and I just want to tell everyone that sadly Commissioner Green is not going to be coming back. And we have 3 great candidates running for his seat. They're all members of the same party, and so therefore this election will be determined in the primary. This is the reason that the League of Women Voters of Wakulla County, members at large, and the League of Women Voters of Tallahassee are having this candidates forum. This is tomorrow night at the library. The doors are open at 6:30. The real business will begin at 7. We're going to try to have a pot of coffee and a couple of things ready. So please come, listen to the candidates, and take some notes and decide what you think is best for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Jim Taylor.
I have a comment, then a recording. Hugh Taylor, 1557, Martin Luther King Road. I think it was sandbag, but I'm going to issue Commissioners Brock and Stewart a challenge. And we'll see about the half-truth. The next time you guys get a notion, call Miss Portwood in for an 8 to 5 day and see how quick she tells you to jump up a rope, employer-wise. Mr. Stewart is later on proposing something. I hope I can stay. I don't know if I'll be able to, but it stinks. It limits citizen input. I have a recording of how this board, in denying citizen input, canceled the meeting when citizens were coming to speak. I would ask Ms. Welsh to play it now. I'm going to sit down.
I'm going to ask the board, I'm going to ask someone to make a motion to adjourn the meeting and to reconvene at our next meeting date for a couple of reasons. One of them tomorrow is election day, and I do not want tonight to get out of hand. I do not want to make a motion to adjourn and to move to the agenda and follow the meeting. Second, from Mr. Ballard, from Mr. Lansing, Mr. Chairman, we used to have that include, to continue everything on the agenda to the next meeting. I'm missing something. I don't understand what this meeting is any different from any other meeting. There's some item on here that you're concerned that's going to be carried into the meeting. So that's a problem on that particular item. So why are we doing this? I just feel like we need to do this. Done before. The first election that I was on the board. However, I do know that as I going through the community and talk to folks, and I'm concerned that at the beginning of this meeting, we just approved an agenda, which included those items which will be discussed this evening. So we go to a certain point on it, and then we decide to change the agenda. That's what it looks like to me. I don't know if that's even legal to change the agenda in the middle of the meeting. If the motions to adjourn aren't subject to the vote and discussion. No. Okay. So this appears to have been something to just maybe I would have made it look like we decided on whoever opposed what was going on.
Renee Calhoun.
Commissioners, my name is Renee Calhoun. I live at 211 Bettywood Circle, Crawfordville. I'm concerned about two issues tonight. I'm concerned about the fact it was known by employees within the Wakulla County Administration well before the Sheriff's Department told the county administrator that an employee that was sent to Cocoa Beach and became certified to inspect homes within Wakulla County had a felony record. I was so concerned when I heard about the fact that at least one of the convictions was for burglary, and knowing that the county and the contractors could be held responsible for any thefts in the home, I sent a letter to all of you. In that letter, I wanted to know who had hired this employee, because I could not believe that the county would put itself and their contractors at such a risk for lawsuits. I never once said I wanted the employee fired. I have never met this employee. I, for one, think this employee may be very good at whatever he did that got him promoted to a director's position within another department of the administration. I had nothing to do with this employee being forced to resign. I had nothing to do with the fact when the employee asked for his resignation back and that the administration refused that request. This is all due to bad management by the county administrator. This is the third state-certified weatherization personnel that this administration has lost within a year. Bad management is bad management. It cannot be hidden anymore. Mr. Pingree and Mr. Bowes have not taken any responsibility for their actions and non-actions, and it's past time you put a stop to this kind of stuff. My second issue is I want to make sure all of you are aware of the fact that I was given documents that contain Social Security numbers of present and former county employees and what may be every person that submitted an application to the Housing Department. I took that information to the state attorney, and it was confiscated and put into an evidence bag, and it is now within the Wakulla County Courthouse. I've repeatedly been told that the county attorney has to look at everything before I get it, and after months of waiting for some documents and still waiting for almost 3 months for others, I have other documents that I still have not received. Yet I was given Social Security numbers and hundreds of pages of documents that have absolutely zero to do with my request. With all the money that is spent on staff and computers, plus the fact residents are required to give the county deposits before research will even begin, how in the world can something like this happen? After reading the filings from Crum versus Wakulla County and the fact that documents are still not being released and documents with Social Security numbers speaks volumes about this administration, and it's not good. Commissioners, before you set up workshops, more review teams, there are plenty of laws already on the books that are being ignored. So I hope you will either clean up your administration before the Wakulla County residents and their privacy are put at risk and even more taxpayer money is wasted. It's past time for you to take action and do whatever it takes to fix these problems.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Jared Walters.
Thank you for hearing me. I'd like to speak very briefly about John. I very, very strongly feel that if you folks do not give this whole situation the weight that it actually carries, you're going to be releasing and losing an asset from the county.
Thank you. Mr. Larry Roberts.
Mr. Chairman, Larry Roberts of Sop Chappie. I'm going to take advantage of this opportunity, being a senior citizen, and it's getting late in the day, to speak on number 29, the rules of procedure that will be discussed later. Spent considerable time in the county office this afternoon reading everything in the book. The policy, the new policy as presented in the book didn't have the normal staff underlinings of the things new and the crossing out of the things that was proposed to be eliminated. So some of it is a little hazy trying to compare the two without that type of staff work. But if I recall correctly, one of the items is that the citizens in the county can't use your video equipment during the presentation such as this evening. I would like to say that it's not your video equipment, it's our video equipment. It's these people's, the people's out there at home. It's my equipment. Feel free to use it anytime you want to, however, speaking for myself. Proper decor in this meeting hall has never been a problem. I can only recall one incident that a citizen was I considered to be abusive, and that was not too long ago. A young lady from the sheriff's office was in here and was right abusive, I thought, to Commissioner Kessler. I believe that the chairman has the authority, as the ordinance is written, to take care of that, but the chairman was tremendously tolerant. I'm confident that Dr. Kessler shares my position on the First Amendment and the Constitution in and of itself. He shares my opinion there. I support freedom of speech. I support public participation. And I believe that the current policy is quite adequate without change. It seems to have become a tradition to alter the public speaking policies about this time of year as an election approaches. Thank you.
Thank you. Steve Fultz.
Commissioner Steve Fultz, 35 Montecoup Circle. Has been mentioned, the Vice Chair has an item coming up later this evening that would censor citizens completely from the AV equipment. Staff could use the AV equipment, and other presenters could use the AV equipment, but it's specifically citizens. It's also audio and or visual, so technically I could not even use this microphone the way it's currently written. Freedom of speech. Policy means no PowerPoints. Commissioner Stewart would like to prohibit all PowerPoints as part of his decorum policy. What does decorum have to do with audio-visual equipment? Why would he attempt to censor citizen input, I wonder? Maybe it's because he doesn't like how effective it is. Commissioner Stewart has a long history of citizen censorship. This will take just a moment to load.
I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. And all self-reliance or self-reliance.
历史事件的含义不会自动呈现出来，而总是由人来解释的。
Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Thank you. I have more, yes. Normally when we share time, we don't do that, but please take the opportunity.
I'm Sherry Quigg, John Taylor's mother, and I'd like to address one problem. Miss Calhoun gets up here and she makes all these claims, and she's going to have all the weatherization people investigated. Well, there's a lot of us contractors out there, and none of us think slash and dash burn. You know, if we get a contract, fine. If we don't, maybe we'll get the next one. As far as getting mad and wanting to investigate the whole personnel, you know, that's just not right. And I think Miss Calhoun should make some apologies for herself, because she has damaged a lot of people.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. David Damon.
Thank you, Commissioners. Wow, what a night, huh? I'm here to speak on item number 29, which is the citizens to be heard portion, and I thought that was an interesting PowerPoint, of all things, which, Mr. Stewart, you missed the end of it if you'd seen it. It was very good, and it really addresses what you do for a living, and it's having to do with government, military, and how we try to preserve our rights of freedom of speech, and apparently that hasn't sunk in. On citizen input, it says the board also recognizes that it has a significant interest in conducting orderly, civil, and efficient meetings in order to complete county business in a timely manner and without disruption. Orderly, civil, efficient meetings. I don't see how PowerPoint presentations by citizens to be heard does anything but contribute to that. It appears to be once again just a way to limit the citizens' ability to get their point across. And once again, as somebody pointed out, here it is right before election time, we want to get the citizens to be quiet. With all the important business this county has to deal with that we've seen tonight, with all the issues before you, why was this brought forward? I don't understand. It appears to be well planned. It appears to be a way to limit citizens' ability to communicate, and will likely result somewhere tonight. Somebody will come up and say, well, let's compromise. That will force citizens to turn in PowerPoints ahead of time for review, perhaps, and that'll keep them quiet. Well, then the question comes up, well, who's going to review these PowerPoints, and what information is going to be sent to the opposing group so that they can get one ready and show up and defend the stance that the PowerPoint took. And this goes on and on. So who, I wonder, is going to benefit from this? I mean, the word's not getting out, people aren't getting information out, and you're not allowing citizens to be heard. Personally, I don't know how to do a PowerPoint, but I enjoy seeing them, and they do get the point across. And honestly, I think if you had your druthers on this, you would probably, Mr. Stewart, you would probably conduct meetings behind closed doors and not have citizens sitting in the audience, I have a feeling. This is just one more step in that direction. I totally oppose this in any form, in any compromised fashion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. O'Donnell.
Well, I don't say this very often, but I agree with my husband. I think that this whole PowerPoint thing, I'm here to speak about rules of procedure as well because it's awful late, and that it's trying to silence the citizens, but in a different way. As we just saw with Mr. Fulch's PowerPoint, it brings a lot of emotions, and a lot of us cannot convey our messages, as you saw my message early. We can't convey our messages as accurately as others, and by having a PowerPoint, it gives someone a chance to express themselves differently or more accurately or not as nervously when they're up here in front of the Board of County Commissioners, because you guys can be a little intimidating. Handouts, charts, maps, all those things, they don't get seen by the television viewers. They're all handed to you, but this way everyone can see what's going on, and I think that's really, really great. I do business with most of the Convention and Visitors Bureaus in the state of Florida. I called a lot of counties today. Every single one I spoke to says they allow PowerPoints in the Citizens to be Heard section as well as other parts of their meetings. Lynn had said something earlier, was she does not jump to conclusions just because something is put out there. A PowerPoint doesn't mean someone's going to jump to conclusions. I know some people are afraid that a PowerPoint might be more convincing to the audience, but we comprehend like 10% of what we hear, maybe 20 to 30% of what we see, but 50% of what we see and hear. And another thing is this is more government. I thought we were trying to do less government. So by us not allowing the citizens to even do a PowerPoint, I mean, how often do we even have them? That is more government. And also, the Citizens to be Heard section is only 3 minutes anyway. I mean, how much damage can we do up here, right? So why not let people just express themselves using today's technology? The second graders use it in schools. I don't know how to do a PowerPoint either. But, what is best for this county? It's listening to our citizens, not doing what makes you all feel comfortable, but let us talk to you. That's why you're here. We voted for you. So, hey, support us. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Banapek.
Okay, Doug. Can't resist it. Once upon a time, there was a commission chairman named Commissioner Stewart who stopped a citizen from speaking because she began every sentence with "once upon a time." And it led to the point to where Commissioner Stewart told the citizen that she would be removed from this room if she did not say the words he wanted said, rather than the words she came to say. Once again, we see in number 29 that Commissioner Stewart is trying to muzzle the public because the public is saying things that Mr. Stewart does not like. This number 29 says that there is a need for some direction and decorum in the meetings. Believe me, the only one that's losing decorum tonight or leading the way out of decorum was Commissioner Stewart, because decorum is conduct. What Mr. Stewart wants to say is that he needs and wants some direction and censorship. Now, once upon a time, there was a fellow named Thomas Paine who came from England, and in 1774 started churning out pamphlets talking about freedom, and it really caught on. And people like George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Ben Franklin, name the list. They all bought into a nation committed to freedom for every single citizen to come before the government and speak their mind, whether the government liked it or not. I've heard talk of a compromise on censorship. There's no little bit of censorship. It's like pregnancy. You're either pregnant or you're not. Or you censor or you don't. You cannot do a little bit of censorship. Would Betsy Ross have called George III and say, hey, do you want to prove the colors on this flag I'm doing? Because the technology of the day was to have a flag with symbols that people rallied around. Would Nathan Hale have said to George III, you want to edit these words? I regret that I only have one life to give for my country. And would Thomas Paine have turned his copy over to old George, who was probably busy eating, to say, just cross out what you don't like here, and then I'll publish it? No. This nation is committed to freedom. I brought with me tonight some skin thickener because it's for those of you who have really thin skins. And when it gets too bad for you, you just rub the thickener all over you and you hope that it works to toughen you up. Because the jobs you were elected to, and let me say elected to, require thick skins. But the puzzlement is, why aren't you embracing the public? They made a difference tonight. The public came here and told you things to make a difference. Embrace them. Be patriotic, be an American, and be committed to freedom. Thank you.
Thank you. No, please. I think that was for me. No. I just want to say that on that one PowerPoint that was put up by Mr. Fultz, I didn't realize how much it affected me until I tried to begin the second part of the meeting. Then I realized that the whole room had quieted down. That imagery was so powerful. And only to have it in that way, without words, was incredible. So I thank you for that PowerPoint.
If we're going to comment on citizens, I'd like to make a comment.
Please.
I have a mic, thank you. Okay. The question I'd ask is, how many years did you serve in the military? Any of you just stood up?
23, sir.
Mr. Fultz, how many did you serve? Okay.
Wait.
This gentleman over here, how many did you serve? I've served 37 years of my life in a uniform. Defend my country. Thank you. Now let me finish. Now you
have one more that you questioned?
How many? I know you served.
My husband served. He was sprayed with Agent
Thank you. Thank you. And I appreciate it. So I have served. So don't tell me about serving my country. I have served my country honorably. I have taught young people how to serve their country honorably. I have folded hundreds of flags at deceased funerals of military members. I have, personally, and taught young people how to do that. So don't preach to me about serving in the military. I have fought for our freedoms, our freedom of speech, and y'all have no idea. You're up here talking before the item. I can't believe we're allowing this to go on because it's not even the item yet. You don't even know what I'm going to propose yet. You have no idea.
Okay, please. I think we do know what you're proposing as far as
you have no idea how I'm going to present it.
Okay, well, listen. So we are finished with the portion of the meeting dealing with citizens to be heard, and we're on to a planning and zoning item.
Yes, Commissioners, item number 18 this evening is an application for a site plan.
Everybody leaves.
This is SP 10-03. This is an application for site plan to request approval to construct a child care facility.
Let's take a couple minutes and let the room clear.
As Lindsay stated,
Just one more minute, just let it quiet down.
Okay, application for site plan SP 1003. The applicant is Lucy Ward and the agent is Hydra Engineering. This is a request to construct a 5,000 square foot child care facility on a 2-acre parcel located on the north side of Shadeville Road, immediately east of the community center and west of Hale Small Engine. The land use for the property is Urban 1, and the zoning is a restricted C2 zoning district, which the board recently approved. The property is in flood zone Zone C, and no environmentally sensitive features are known to exist on the site. Central sewer and water will be connected to the site, and stormwater will be contained on site. Applications for both transportation concurrency and stormwater review were submitted by the applicant and approved by the county's review consultants, Kimley Horn & Associate. As part of this process, the turn lane analysis was performed, which indicated that traffic volumes do not warrant the installation of a turn lane for the proposed child care use at the subject property. Landscaping will be installed in compliance with the commercial landscape ordinance, including a 50-foot naturally vegetated buffer along the north and west side of the property. The proposed site plan meets all applicable codes of both the county code and the comp plan. Therefore, staff and the Planning Commission is recommending approval of the application.
Thank you. Would entertain a motion? Making a motion, it's going to die for lack of a motion.
I'll make a motion.
It's a motion by Commissioner Green.
Staff and the Planning Commission recommend approval. So, I'm recommending approval of this item. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Conduct a final public hearing and approve the application for site plan SP-03 based on the Planning Department's recommendation, the recommendation of the Planning Commission, and the findings of fact and conclusions of law made by the board and evidence submitted by the hearing hereof. Second, conduct the final public...
Oh, good.
I'm sorry, the first one is right.
Okay. So there's a motion by Commissioner Green and a second by Commissioner Stewart. There are two citizen cards, actually one card and one citizen. Now we have three.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman. This is a quasi-judicial hearing, and I'd like to, in accordance with Section 24.01 of the County Code, each commissioner needs to disclose any contact received from interested parties or their representatives, any lobbyists, any third parties concerning this application, and discuss any personal investigation or knowledge being relied upon. And if you have any written materials, please move them into the record at this time. Commissioner Brock.
I spoke with the Gibson family at the last hearing and received a letter from them that I think we gave you at the last hearing. I don't have another additional copy. Hydro Engineering contacted me, and I apologize, I have not contacted them back.
I met with Hydro Engineering.
And I received some correspondence from the Gibson. I think it's on the staff record. I also had emails from John Sewell that I requested, and Ryan Weatherall.
And I have a copy of that, so we can move it in.
I'm at Hydro Engineering project.
I went to the site. I received the same communication that I reported at the last hearing. I met with Joe Hope of Hydro Engineering, and I've talked with staff. Okay. And this is a quasi-judicial hearing, so any witnesses or anyone who's going to provide information on this application, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? And then, do you want to talk about the notices? Yeah. Just for the record this evening, Commissioners, I do note that this was, this public hearing was initially advertised on April the 8th, 2010 in the Wakulla News, and this item was heard at June the 7th, 2010, and it was actually continued to a date and time certain, which is this evening, July 19th, 2010.
Proceed. We have some speakers' cards filled out. Ms. Leslie Hope.
Hello, Leslie Hope with Hydro Engineering, 266 Oakwood Trail. I'm here for the applicant if you have any questions on it. Summer did a great job of presenting it. It's a 5,000 square foot daycare facility, consistent with the zoning out there. It's it's on a section of Shadeville Highway that's next door to Hale's Small Engine. And we have received approval from Northwest Florida Water Management District for their stormwater, and we've went through the stormwater concurrency and traffic concurrency with Kimley Horn, Wakulla counties, and consultant, and have approval on that. So I'm available if you have any questions.
Thank you. Thank you. John Sewell on Rotherham.
John Sewell with Kimley Horn & Associates, 1725 Hermitage Boulevard, Tallahassee. We're just here to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you. Al Zukowski.
Al Zukowski, 85 Weldon Road, speaking on behalf of CCAL. We'd like to see a turn lane. I don't know about the traffic study, but I know that you all have it within your powers to request builders to do a turn lane. It looks like we're just starting down Shadeville Road, and we have a chance to do it right this time. We should get the infrastructure in before, as we go along, not wait until it gets backed up like 319 and then wonder what we're going to do about it. Thank you.
Discussion from the board. Hearing none.
I have a quick question. I should have already asked Hydro Engineering. This is a question. I'm looking at your plan again, because I've looked it over some, and I wanted to ask, and I apologize for doing it here in the meeting. Is it possible to, there's anticipation that there might be a turn lane in the future? Do you feel like that your property, the way it's designed, would allow for a little land taken from the front if we need to at a future point?
I think everything is beyond the setback, so it's not going to be a hardship.
Okay.
I would have to look at that further, but that would be my initial impression.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Call for any further board discussion?
Yeah. This site is probably going to fall within what becomes part of the town of Crawfordville for our Crawfordville town plan. And just for me, I know we don't have things in place yet to develop the look and feel of a town, but I would just ask developers and people who are bringing forth site plans to be leaders and be forward thinking. I would have loved to have seen a sidewalk along the front. You know, we're trying to get kids to walk and bike to the community center. I would have not, rather than the parking lot in the front, I would have liked to have seen this behind the building and the building more close to the street. Some of those kind of things that I think we're going to be grappling with in the next few months. So I'm just encouraging people to think about developing site plans that'll fit in with the look of a town. And I also had a very interesting conversation with Joe Hope about the process that we have. We get to see these site plans very late when already permits and engineering and a lot of work and money has gone into them. And I had a conversation with Lindsay, and I want to explore this further about opportunities for us as a board to review concepts earlier. so we can have input into some of these things, rather than when they come to us in kind of a final state and all we can do is yay or nay. So anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there. Thank you.
So I have a question for that's all. This final statement is in the site plan. If the board wanted to back a proposition that Commissioner Roth just proposed, sidewalk in front of it, you know, if we don't start having this thing go in place, every time there's another development, we have another opportunity lost. Is that within the realm of the board to do that?
At the moment, we don't have anything in your code that would require that at the site plan stage.
So we have a lot of work to do on that.
But you can certainly request. Yes.
And that's what I'm asking. We don't have it in our code yet, but I'm asking people who are working on developments in our Crawfordville area to start thinking in those terms and be ahead of the curve.
So my concern when I looked at this project was the impact of traffic on Shadeville and the nature of the daycare center being a type of operation that everyone gets there pretty much on the same time and everyone leaves at the same time. And that was one of the things that was addressed with this new site plan as far as being able to pull in and not immediately jam up the people that were making a right-hand turn into it. But the people that are going to make a left-hand turn into it, they are going to stop at Shadeville. And it may not be significant right now, but once the community center starts up, we'll have a different picture there. We don't even know where that exit and entrance is, and I'm just worried about not having the infrastructure in place on this piece of property before we continue to be behind the curve. But like as Commissioner Rock, I think says, this is what it is, and we can't change this. We're voting on this site plan. I would ask Mr. Sewell and Mr. Weather to maybe comment on safety and traffic relating to this site, with and without turn lane from the north side and middle lane from the left side.
I'm not really sure what you're asking me, but I think you're asking for somewhat of a general statement. As far as the turn lane analysis that was required as part of your concurrency management system, as part of your current code, the applicant met all those requirements. Initially, they did not provide a turn lane analysis. We requested them to do that. They did that, and it came back that it was not warranted. There have been instances along Crawfordville Highway where they've done that analysis and it was required. The Burger King was a good example of that. That site did meet its warrant for a turn lane. Again, we have to have engineering standards, and those standards are called forth in your concurrency management system. There's nothing that prohibits the county from having a more stringent standard in the future. But what we had, I think what the county had adopted was what basically DOT uses, which is, again, it's a good engineering standard. Now, there's the volume warrant, and then there's the safety warrant. And the safety warrant, that's based on accidents. And unfortunately, it's a new site, so of course we have no history on accidents. And then there's sort of the third avenue that you can take, and the applicant, clearly has met all the requirements of the analysis, and it wasn't warranted on either a safety or a volume perspective. Sometimes it's just a good idea to do it, but again, in this case, it's not something that the county, according to your code right now anyway, really has a means to require. In certain cases, it's a good idea, and again, those types of situations are situations where through the process, the county could have a dialogue with the applicant, and if the applicant was willing to voluntarily do it and agrees that it's a good thing for their business, then they could move forward and do that. But the county is really not in a position, based on your current code, to do that. I think the question came up of looking forward. I don't want to get too off topic, but the overlay project, that's one of the things that it's going to be looking at, is how to update the land development code for Crawfordville, dealing with things like sidewalks and things like that. So, but right now your code doesn't really address that.
Okay, thank you. So I'm probably going to call Ms. Hope up again, but, and I don't want to be stepping over a line that maybe I shouldn't, but with us not having the rules in place, and there may be a desire from some commissioners to have a sidewalk there, even though it's a piece of sidewalk that goes from nowhere to nowhere, but it's there and it's the beginning of something. Can that be asked of the agent for the developer to, if they would be willing to voluntarily do that?
Sure, you can request it. I think the message is you can request it, but you can't require it.
Gotcha. And the board's decision would be a yes, an up or down vote on the site as it exists, or the site with the agreed voluntary, if there was one.
Yes, you could certainly ask them to do it and include that. If they agree, you could include it in this item.
Yes, Commissioner Brock.
I anticipate that after the community center land is mapped out, we figure out what it's going to do, that, and I could be wrong, that at some point around that edge, we might be putting in a turn lane or sidewalks or both, because we own the land right up to their property, which is why I asked that question. And I don't know if it's too late or not, but if they're building a setback far enough that we might put a sidewalk, there might be some land right up to you that you might want to continue. Having a sidewalk built right now might be premature, because we won't have if we're going to have a sidewalk, which I'm going to argue what's good for the good. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. I think we should have one also, especially when we're encouraging people. I don't want to have their sidewalk be 5 feet up, our sidewalk be 5 feet back, whatever. Continuing.
I think there's a way to probably come to where a sidewalk could routinely be. I forget the name of the fellow, something on planning, and his father is a planning consultant, but his father was a fireman, but he advocated sidewalks, and in front of his home he put in a sidewalk, and unfortunately with that example it went nowhere, because it stayed there for many years. But communities that do advocate this, it's a way of putting it together. But let's maybe do this. Let's see if the agent is willing to at least commit to putting a sidewalk in when the county does put a sidewalk in. So it won't be out of taxpayers' dollars, and it will be part of this project. And then we won't have to worry about where's the sidewalk. Okay, so.
Well, yeah, she's coming up. I think, again, because looking at the way we'll probably be putting sidewalks in the future, we're probably going to be looking at grants. At least that's what it looks like right now. And we'd probably be able to continue it if the space is there with grant money. So it's just more for me, if the space is there, we would come to that conclusion, we would come to that decision when it comes in the future. But we'll hear from the agent.
What I would suggest is that I go back and look at the site plan and make sure that there's space available for a sidewalk. And then that would be, if you're looking at grants, I know there is a lot of grants available for that type of sidewalk and continuing it with communities, because we were looking at it in Wakulla Gardens at one time. But that I would definitely be interested in looking to see if there's space for it and making space for a sidewalk on that site.
Yeah, and we may not be, I'm glad to hear there are grants for that. I don't know how much grant money there is actually out there at times, but That's just an idea to see if that would influence the board in any way, but I have concerns of the turning lane, have concerns of issues like sidewalk, as Commissioner Owens. Okay, so no further board discussion. We'll call for the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. It passes unanimously.
Under general business, we're starting our general business section. It's a request for board approval of the Road Clean Action Plans, also known as RCAP, their final report. This committee has been working. Back in March of 2009, the Board of County Commissioners adopted Resolution 09-12, which did establish the RCAP, or the Road Clean Action Plan. And Pamela Joy, who is the chair of the RCAP committee, is here to present their final report this evening.
Please.
Hello, Commissioners and County Administrators and citizens. My name is Pamela Joy, and I'm representing the Roads Clean Action Plan Committee, RCAP. This is a volunteer committee formed by the board and is made up of citizens and county staff, including representatives of Public Works and law enforcement. I want to thank you for the opportunity to present the final report from this committee, and I would like to introduce the members, if they would please stand as I call their name. Unfortunately, a few people had to leave. Hugh Taylor, Shelley Swenson, Bill Osborne, Ray Gray, Jude Burke, Jim Griner, Ed Duco, Victor Lambeau, Jared Miller, Cleve Fleming, and Chris Savory. Thank you. The RCAP committee has been working on a plan to clean up litter from the roadways of Wakulla County for 1 year. And we estimate that over 1,300 work hours have been spent towards this goal. The committee members are very passionate about this goal and are asking the board to implement our recommendations in this final report to achieve clean roads. I didn't realize the PowerPoint was on already, but while I'm speaking, you will see a series of photographs behind me showing litter on Wakulla roads. The first group of photos are of some of the uncovered loads taken to our waste management facility. A lot of litter blows out of these uncovered loads, even bags, and ends up on our roads. On my way here tonight, I saw a complete huge bag of trash by Spring Creek Highway that obviously had blown off of one of these uncovered loads. Our county is extremely beautiful, and the tremendous quantity of litter on our roadways is seriously detracting from that natural beauty. Litter can also be a serious deterrent to tourism, as well as having a negative impact on our citizens' quality of life and can pose a potential threat to the health and well-being of wildlife. The committee first considered the cause of the problem, some of these being young people who have not been educated about the consequences of litter on our community and wildlife habitats, people passing through our county littering, residents taking uncovered loads of trash or debris to the waste management facility, the tremendous growth of our county in the past 5 years resulting in more waste, and people who just don't think about it or care. It's all of the above. The committee's recommendations for the solution to the problem focus primarily on education and enforcement. We want to educate citizens and raise awareness, and we want laws to be enforced for those who do not comply. The committee is submitting 17 specific recommendations to the board, broken down by categories that include working together with county government, local businesses, and citizens. These categories are governance, public-private partnership, public relations, and public education. Due to our limited time, I will not read each recommendation, but they are listed in your final report. And for citizens, the report is available at mywakulla.com under this agenda date. It is noted in the report where there are existing laws in place, either by Wakulla County ordinance or Florida statute. I know that each of you has only to look around outside to see the litter problem, However, committee members adopted heavily traveled county roads to monitor for at least a month to track the kind and amounts of litter. These results are included in the Road Cleanliness Index, which is attachment 5 of your report. Many roads had quantities of litter too numerous to count. I would like to conclude by mentioning attachment 6 of this report. The litter collection report shows litter collected by the Sheriff's Office, Roads Department, and Keep Wakulla County Beautiful. It is difficult to imagine that they average collection of a staggering 43,647 pounds of roadside litter per month. This averages out to a pound of litter per minute each day. But look how much is still out there. If this is not stopped, it will only get worse. It is the mission statement of the RCAP committee that Wakulla County will be the cleanest county in the state within 5 years. Please, Commissioners, help us achieve this goal. We want to be proud of this beautiful county we live in. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Move to accept the report.
Second. Motion by Commissioner Rock, second by Commissioner Stewart, to accept the report of the RCAP committee. Any citizens to speak on this issue? Hearing none. The commission input, Commissioner Rock.
Yeah, first I'd like to thank the RCAP committee for all of their hard work in producing this report. But I hope we do more tonight than just accept this report. There are a lot of suggestions in here that I would like to see implemented, but I guess I'd like suggestions about how best to do that. My first thought is a workshop where we could, again, have RCAP and the board discuss which ones we want to pursue. Some of them may not even be possible, but, that would be my suggestion.
I take that as a friendly amendment to follow up with a workshop on the actions suggested by the RCAP committee. I don't know. Did you get this? Yeah.
Okay, this friendly amendment to the motion of establishing a workshop to further the actions of and recommendations of the RCAP committee.
Also, I echo Commissioner Arntz's, and at the workshop we'll get hopefully the chance to tell us and more members. Thank you very much for the time and energy that y'all put in. I watched a few members fall out, leave. I was like, well, might be here a little later than they thought they were going to be at this point. So thank you all if you're at home watching now. We really appreciate it. You can see it's a 38-page report, so thank you very much.
One of the members that's absent is Victor Lambu, and his wife had actually entered the hospital over the weekend, and otherwise he would be here. She's feeling better, so our prayers and thoughts go out to Lorraine. Okay, the motion in a second with the addition by Commissioner Watts. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously.
Okay, Commissioners, item 20 is a request for board approval of the budget resolution and budget amendment and authorize the chairman to execute all financing documents for the courthouse Phase 1 renovation project. I know the clerk of court is here this evening.
Good evening, Chairman and Commissioners. I have here what I hope will be one of your easiest items of the night. We'll see. I think this is pretty much a formal type of action in terms of consummating the decision you made at the June 7th meeting and the commitment letter you signed there. I have Steve Cole here from Hancock Bank, and he is the person that possesses a lot of the documents that we wanted to get signed, including one of those documents that I don't remember ever doing this before. It may be something new when the county has borrowed money, but one of them actually needs the signature from every one of the board members that's here tonight. So don't run off, here at midnight or whatever time we get done. He's got one more little detail for each one of you to sign something there. But anyway, I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
Move to approve and authorize the chairman to execute resolutions for Loan A and Loan B, the notes pertaining thereto, as well as all other standard closing documents, and approve the budget resolution and amendment.
A motion by Commissioner Brock, second by Commissioner Arts. No citizens to speak on this issue. I've discussed this issue with clerk of the court, and we've got our concerns basically put forward, so I'm sure he'll be doing all that needs to be done. No further discussion from the board. Move the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item under general business is number 33, request approval to temporarily relocate the courthouse facilities and occupants to the community center. I'll let Brent pick it up again. There you go, sir.
Back again. Yes, this one is kind of a little wrinkle that has developed. I have several people that are here tonight that I have the co-author of the agenda item, Grant Sladen, the court administrator, and I'll get Grant to come on up, and then we'll introduce a few other folks as well later on. But Grant wanted to share a few comments with you about the court's perspective and needs here.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having us here tonight. It's been discovered that the Wakulla County Courthouse has 4 types of asbestos-containing material throughout the building. It's all Category 1, non-friable if handled correctly. The large courtroom itself has all 4 types of asbestos-containing materials together in one place, and we know this from the report that was conducted by the experts about the building. Although the day-to-day risk to the public is small, the court compels 58,000 visitors a year to come to the courthouse, and their perception of the risk is important. Also, the concern is if the materials are abated and removed, then it increases the risk for the occupants that have to come to the courthouse. Abating the asbestos is considered a much better in the long term than covering it up or encapsulating it. When I first heard the term encapsulating, I thought it was something like resin or airtight seals or something like that, but encapsulating in the usage means just covering it with paint or drywall or carpet, just covering the asbestos up with something that's permeable and not too safe. In fact, the expert's own report recommends that it be abated. Especially this is important, we think, because Wakulla County plans to continue to use this courthouse facility for many decades to come. Failure to remove the asbestos will also require specialized maintenance and increased costs and risk throughout the life of the building. Every time you remove carpet or drill holes in the floor or do some work or have leaks, then all of a sudden now you have to worry about specialized maintenance and what has to be done because there are asbestos carrying materials in the structure. The court would prefer not to be in the building during the asbestos abatement process, and that's again due to concerns about public safety and public perception. Because it is Category 1 non-friable asbestos, when you remove it, you drill holes to move the benches or the seating, you pull the tiles up, you break them and can crumble them, and then that can cause problems with the asbestos. Normally what they would do is seal off a part of the building and work in that area, and when I mean seal off, I mean having an under pressure system with airlocks, employees in spacesuits, and I don't think the employees would be happy working in the building. I don't think 58,000 members of the public would be happy coming into the building when they see workers taking showers and going through airlocks and wearing spacesuits and that kind of thing. So to us, it doesn't seem like a good idea. Moving the court to another location seems to be a viable option, and one of the options we've looked at is the community center because it is located close to the courthouse. Everyone knows where it is, and it provides the kind of facilities or spaces that we have. We looked at a couple of other options, but they didn't have everything that's offered perhaps by the community center. And although not ideal, we discussed it with the court, the clerk, the public defender, the state attorney, and the bailiffs unit, and we consider it the best option of what we might have and doable. Although not ideal, it's doable. Staying at the community center until the renovation is completed will reduce the overall time and cost of this project. And while I'm no expert in it, I know they're talking about a 9 or 10 month project if you rotate it and stayed in the building when the asbestos removal is going on, with all the attendant risks and concerns about that. If you move out of the building and let them just abate it as a whole, and do the renovations as a whole, I've been told the project can be reduced to as little as 4 to 6 months, which is a lot less time that the public doesn't have the use of their regular courthouse back. So it'll minimize inconvenience to the citizens of Wakulla County. The clerk and Peter Brown Construction assure us that even with the asbestos abatement, the overall cost will still be within the previously approved guaranteed maximum price, or GMP, which was $2.25 million, approximately a little under $2.25 million. I think the current estimates have us at $1.9 million. The GMP is $2.25 million, or a little less than that. So we're still hearing that it can come in below the cost that's estimated for the project and approved for the project by the County Commission, and that would include the abatement of the asbestos. The final concern is any costs of moving to the community center. We don't have some good estimates on that. I've heard ranges anywhere from $20,000 to maybe $40,000. That would be operations costs and the actual movement costs. So something that surely could be contained within the budget, or perhaps within the $30 court facility fee that you have. I think currently it has a balance of over $250,000, so there should be adequate funds in there that might be tapped for that. So, and those funds are dedicated for only use by the courthouse. It doesn't impact general revenue or the general county budget. So those seems like a reasonable way to proceed. And bottom line, that's what we're asking y'all tonight, is to consider this proposal, consider the temporary use of the community center as a viable courthouse, and approve some of the proposals that will be brought forward by the clerk. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them, or the clerk of court could answer them.
There are questions from the board?
Absolutely.
Commissioner Ross?
We don't need a motion first?
Well, this is still part of the presentation, so if you want to put a motion on the board, you can.
Move to approve the vacating of the present courthouse during the abatement and renovation phase and temporarily relocating to the Wakulla County Community Center.
Motion by Commissioner Brock, second by Commissioner Green, and now we're going to get some more.
I'm just going to clarify. Our motion that was suggested to us is only one of the actions that are proposed. So we want to move on one of the actions proposed.
Well, if you're interested, the other course of action, there are not a lot of large public buildings that are empty or underutilized at this point in the county. The other option we looked at was using the county commission chambers here for court operations, and we're talking 8 to 5 court operations in here daily. It didn't have a lot of the space, plus it didn't have the other facilities required: jury rooms, bailiff's offices, areas for screening people, mass queuing areas, the state attorney's offices, all the things that might go with it.
I would just like our motion doesn't include the portable classroom facilities.
Oh, okay. It probably should have. I think one of the things they're looking at is looking at the square footage they need. The state attorney and PD would need some portable office space near the community center, and that's because there needs to be adequate space for them to operate on. We've done some quick estimates on that and looked at maybe a few portables, probably no more than 4, 2 for the state attorney and 2 for the public defender, based on DMS square footage space. The lease of those things are I think, very reasonable. The clerk's been working out some issues about how we can get them in the short term.
I heard Joey say probably no more than 4, and that's probably one more than we had listed on a piece of paper.
I'm looking from the court's perspective. The state attorney and PD would probably need 2
Between
weeks.
the time we prepared the agenda item and tonight, we've already heard, now we have someone here from the state attorney's office, which is actually a slightly larger staff than the public defender's office, in that the state attorney prosecutes everyone and the public defender doesn't defend all defendants. But we heard from the public defender's office that they felt like they needed 2 portables. So in the interest of fairness and justice, we can't offer 2 to one without offering 2 to the other. So we don't have a firm number on that, but I think we're going to have 3 or 4 portables at a minimum.
Would the office cover the cost of the portables?
I think the county is obligated statutorily to provide the space. It doesn't have to be in the same building that the courts are in, but I think the county is obligated to furnish.
Yes, both by the Florida Constitution, the county is required to fund court facilities, and then the statute says they're supposed to require reasonable and necessary court facilities, so it expands upon it a little bit, but it's a county responsibility. There's no state funds for that. In fact, the state wouldn't allow anyone to pay for that because it's not a state responsibility. Unfortunately, it's a mandate that's put upon each local county to provide space.
Would this be covered?
1 second, please. I you completed?
For the time, I might have more.
Commissioner Ross?
Would this be covered, the rent or whatever for the portables be covered as in the renovation bid?
It is in our, it is in our $20,000 to $40,000 range figure. When we figured the $20,000 estimate, that was about $13,000 to rent the portables for 5 months. You know, if it took longer than 5 months, then you've got a little bit of extra cost there. So if we need more than 3 portables, then you've got some extra cost there. All those things are somewhat variable. We are putting together and ready to give you firm figures as soon as we get your okay, and then B, solicit and finalize these details. County probation is another office that right now we don't know. I think Doug was here. I don't know if Doug's still there. So Doug and I have talked about whether county probation needs to be out there, and if so, that may be another portable. It looks like right now I got to find myself an office space, or else I may get a portable too. So as nice as the facility is, all the space taken up pretty much with the sanctuary doesn't give us much office abilities over there. That's court activity, and then the other building we have to divvy that up and scrunch people in as much as we can for that facility. But it is included in the now that is not included in the GMP. The GMP is strictly what our obligation is for Peter Brown for the bricks and mortar type portion of the courthouse.
And that's why we looked at it. We thought any of the movement costs to move to another facility would come from that court facility fund. It's allowable to be used for court facilities, which is what this would be, a temporary court facility. And there's more than sufficient funds in there to cover what the expenditure might be. Again, we didn't want to lean too far forward on the, committing to the community center, because it is your decision, whether we use the community center or not. It's your facility and your property. We were just looking for some viable options that are out there that we could put the courthouse operations in if we had to vacate the courthouse for a temporary period.
Okay, is there anything more?
You go ahead.
No, I'm just want to make sure I'm finished.
Well, yeah, we'd like to see the community center moving forward, but on a temporary basis, it seems reasonable to, let you all use the community center. I'd sure be looking for some other space, though, besides renting portables. I don't know if the sheriff's office has some space that maybe could be used or whatever. But in addition to the cost of extra things like portables, the 2 bullets below that give me a little pause. And I just want to, this is page 3 of the item. You're going to be running 100 pairs of phone lines, or conduit for 100 pairs of phone lines. I just want to make sure that we aren't trenching through roots of any of the nice trees we have on the property. And then the last one about all these modifications, and especially doing things like putting windows or doors in external walls and stuff. I'd really rather not have things like that done to the community center for just a few months of the, temporary residence. So, and you'd save some money too, not doing some of those things.
Well,
so.
I hope you can understand that what we were attempting to do, everything is interior work except for one window that is part of that, which was something that the judges wanted. And I won't tell you which judge it was, but she said she just didn't know if she could work in a room. I think the judges have been great. I think they've been very accommodating. It's a pain for them to deal with this. So I really, that's kind of why we wanted to allude to that. By the way, the 100-pair conduit thing, there's a 25-pair line that runs to the buildings right now. But the phone company gave the church a break when they built it and didn't make them put it in conduit. So by having a phone line that's A, bigger, and B, in conduit, really this is not a one-time, I don't look at that as a one-time expenditure. I don't look at any of the things that we're talking about doing as strictly something that's court-related and not of some benefit to future use of some of those rooms too. But, you know, something like the window or a couple of these interior doors, I don't know what, you know, I don't know what the future will hold and how, you know, how much of that would lend itself well to what the county might have use for, but those are pretty minor expenses, really. I'm sure to cut a hole and hang a door inside to do 3 of them, you know, in the hundreds. It's not.
As far as the space itself, they're looking at, you know, we've looked at DMS guidelines for the space, in, for example, the portables, and like 60 square feet for support staff, 80 square feet for attorneys. The judges are moving to considerably smaller chambers with, you know, like no personal bath for security or those kinds of things. We're going to have other security concerns. The clerk staff will be in large, you know, cubicle space areas. It's not ideal by any means. I mean, I think the court is trying to work to do this as efficiently and quickly as possible, as least expensively as possible, and that's why the community center seemed to be a favored thing, because it had speed and cost, I think, factored in. So everything is being tried. You know, I think everyone's trying to do this as quickly, expeditiously, and as low cost as possible. So,
one other advantage as far as the portable idea is really not very desirable. You know, it's going to be a pain to move out of the building. It's going to be a little extra strain probably on conducting our business by some of us using portables. But from the point of view of the citizens, it is so much more convenient for people. If people are told to come and meet their public defender, you know, they don't really have to search, you know, for which one of the buildings, you know, this might be in. I had contacted, you know, I've talked to and worked with the chamber on the old courthouse. I've talked to the extension office folks. There was really not a great surplus of space, and so our other option, if we didn't do portables, is to have people kind of, you know, go into some different areas, and a lot of times people need to go to more than one office in the courthouse. So that's what we were hoping to do by bringing up those ugly portables.
Would it be cheaper to rent office space? I know there are locations that have space available.
Well, I have been approached by one of our commercial real estate folks on that as well. It's probably not much more. The portables really are, you know, they're about $830 a month or so. And the longer you stay there, the cheaper it is, because really the rent is the least part of it, is set up and take down and all that adds up quickly. But I don't think we would spend a whole lot more. But there again, I think we'd have to find a little space here, a little space there, and I think we're open to whatever you guys want to do. The other thing I want to mention is this, and I know this is kind of it's not earth-shattering or anything, but the public defender and the judges and the state attorney all share a secure network, and so if we don't hook all of them up, you know, together like that, then we have to provide high-speed network connection for them in whatever buildings are out there, and it's probably more easy to secure and a little cheaper to do it that way. Same thing with my office. You know, if I can keep my official records section in the same location, then I can use the same network and do all, because we have to upload stuff nightly from both our court information and our official record information to a statewide database. So there's a little bit of technology that kind of figures into some of the benefits. But I mean, we're open. If you guys put your foot down and said, no, we don't want any portables out there, then we're going to continue to make plans to try to move out there and open up on August the 16th. And in the meantime, we're going to start scrambling instead of working on getting portables and doing some of the hooking those portables up temporarily with electric and bait and all that. We're going to have to start scrounging the space option.
And the reason for the community center is the size of the adjacencies required. At a minimum, the court and the court-related functions of the clerk have to be in the same area to do their job. So at least the community center gave us at least that footprint, but it wasn't big enough to put a state attorney and a PD. As he said, with the technology that we use and having the secure communications, that could increase cost dramatically somewhere else if we had to duplicate that. We were sort of looking at putting it all in one place because you could have a hub, piggyback all on one set of lines, reduce the amount of lines, and try to do it as inexpensively as possible and keep it together. And then you had a convenience for the public. You know, instead of, if you come to court, you still come to court because everyone is at court. They're not, well, you know, the PD's office is over here and the state attorney's office is over here.
Well, and just you know, there were more questions, and it's late, and we have about 10 more items to cover.
Okay.
So when you finish this item, you all can go, but we have to be
sorry,
there,
sir.
okay? And so, this is good to get these questions answered. Commissioner Brock, do you have questions?
And the cost of all these things, that many of them that need to be done, would be covered out of, you're suggesting right now, out of the courthouse fees versus the money we have for renovating the community center.
Yes, I mean, this would come out of that $30 surcharge. You guys raised that from $15 to $30 in anticipation of trying to help match that user fee up with the facility costs and so forth, and so that would be our recommendation.
And could that money, and I'm sure that money's already obligated, so I know this is a ridiculous question, be used for like renting the space of the community center to help give us more funds to help?
I think you can provide facilities for it. Whichever option we chose, I think you could use that same money. I think it can be used for facility security, facility maintenance.
And it includes the rent, lease, renovation. There's a laundry list in the statute of things that can be done.
So we could rent the community center
somewhere,
and then use some of that money to help with the renovations that we're anticipating.